in the gentle closing of the day. As light softens and sound thins, there is a quiet moment where the heart finally notices its own weariness. Not dramatic, not urgent, simply honest. The kind of tired that comes after carrying unseen weight, after holding faith together through small trials and silent struggles. This is a bedtime moment, where striving is no longer needed, where prayer becomes rest rather than effort. Here, in the stillness of evening, a sacred pause opens, inviting the soul to settle. Breathe in slowly, breathe out gently. Allow the eyes to rest. Let the brow smooth. Unclench the jaw. Lower the shoulders. Soften the chest. Release the hands. Let the back sink. Let the legs grow heavy. Let the feet be still. Breathe in again. Breathe out again. If these prayers bring you peace, take a moment to like this video, subscribe for more nightly prayers, and share where you're listening from tonight. Your presence and words help keep this space gentle and growing. Now, take another slow breath. Let us begin this prayer together. Faithful God, in the quiet of this night, a heart comes before you, not strong, not polished, simply present. There is no need for explanation here, no need to justify the journey. You see what has been tested. You know what has been carried. You are near without being asked, close without being summoned. There is a soul resting in your presence now, a soul that has walked through moments of uncertainty, through waiting, through questions that did not always find answers. Yet even there, faith remained, sometimes trembling, sometimes small, but still alive, still breathing. You are the God who sees value where the world sees weakness. You are the one who treasures faith even when it has passed through fire. Not because the fire was easy, but because you never left. Like precious metal refined quietly, faith has been held in your hands, watched over, protected. Tonight, let this be known gently in the heart, that nothing endured was wasted, that nothing trusted was ignored, that faith, even when tested, is precious in your sight. Let this understanding settle without explanation. Let it rest like warm lamplight in a quiet room. Let it breathe peace into the places that once held strain. You are a God who stays, a God who refines without harm, a God who offers rest without conditions. And so, in this sacred stillness, the soul leans closer, not to ask, not to prove, but simply to rest. Faithful God, in this deepening quiet, the heart remains before you. There is no rush here, no demand for strength, only a gentle uncovering of what has been carried through the day. There are moments that linger in the body, Small tensions held in the shoulders. Unspoken worries resting in the chest. Questions that followed the soul into the evening. Not shouted. Not dramatic. But present. In this still hour. Those weights are noticed. Not to be judged. Not to be corrected. Only to be released. A breath comes in slowly. A breath goes out softly. With each exhale, the grip loosens. The heart does not need to hold everything together anymore. What was heavy can now be lowered. What felt uncertain can rest without answers. There is a gentle knowing here, that you invite burdens to be laid down, not thrown away, placed carefully, like setting down something fragile, trusting that you will hold what hands no longer need to grasp. Some trials were visible. Some were silent. Some were understood by others. Some were known only to you. Yet all of them were seen. Every moment of perseverance. Every quiet decision to keep trusting. Every time faith remained even when it felt thin. Tonight, there is no need to measure endurance. No need to replay the testing. No need to explain why it hurt. You already know. So the soul begins to lay it down. Slowly. The worry that circled earlier. The fear that arrived without warning. The tiredness that settled deep in the bones. They are set before you one by one. Not with words. Not with effort. But with a simple openness. Like evening air moving through olive branches. Like water easing over smooth stone. There is a quiet transfer happening. What was carried alone is now shared. You are a God who receives without impatience. A God who does not rush healing. A God who honors faith that arrives weary. And in this gentle exchange, the heart grows lighter. Not because everything is solved, but because it is no longer held alone. There is peace in knowing that testing does not diminish worth. That pressure does not erase love. That faith remains precious even when it feels fragile. Let this truth settle without effort. Let it rest in the body. Let it soften the places that stayed guarded through the day. The night grows quieter now. Breath slows. Thoughts drift gently. The soul remains safely held. Faithful God. As the night deepens, the soul remains quietly open before you. There is no urgency here. Only breath. Only presence. Only a gentle awareness of what has been endured. Some moments felt warm and steady. Others felt like passing through heat. Not flames that consumed, but pressures that pressed inward. Testing that asked faith to stay when comfort could not. In this calm hour, those memories no longer need to be resisted. They can be held softly, without tension, without fear, because they are already behind, and you are already here. A breath comes in slowly. A breath moves out quietly. With each breath, The body remembers it is safe. The heart remembers it is not alone. The soul remembers it is still held. There were times when faith felt thin, moments when trust trembled, hours when hope was quieter than doubt. Yet even then, faith did not disappear. It remained. Not loud, not confident, but real. Like embers glowing beneath ash. Like gold resting unseen beneath the surface. You are a God who understands gentle endurance. You see faith that survives without spectacle. You treasure belief that stays even when it whispers. Tonight, there is no need to analyze the fire. No need to explain why it was hard. No need to relive what tested the spirit. Those moments have already passed through your hands. So the breath continues. Slow and easy. Inhaling calm. Exhaling what no longer needs to be held. The chest softens. The stomach releases. The shoulders lower further. The mind loosens its grip on remembering. Like warm air moving through a quiet valley. Like still water reflecting starlight. Peace begins to move gently through the inner spaces. There is no demand placed on faith tonight. No expectation to be strong. No pressure to understand. Faith is allowed to rest. To be small if needed. To be quiet. To be still. You are a God who refines without rushing. Who remains close without speaking loudly. Who guards what is precious even in silence. And so the soul breathes through what once felt heavy. Not with resistance, but with trust that the refining is complete for now. The night holds this moment tenderly. The body settles deeper into rest. Thoughts slow to a gentle drift. Faith remains. Precious. Safe. Held. Faithful God. In the quiet that now surrounds this moment, the soul stays gently open before you. There is no need to push anything away. No need to tighten against what was felt. This is a place where fear does not have to be fought, only released. Some fears arrived softly. A subtle tightening in the chest. A cautious thought that lingered longer than expected. A question about tomorrow that followed the heart into the night. They are here now. Noticed without judgment. Not named loudly. Not examined closely. Simply acknowledged. Like clouds passing slowly across a darkened sky. A breath moves in. Calm and steady. A breath moves out. Unhurried and free. With each exhale, fear loosens its hold. Not because it is forced away, but because it is no longer needed for protection. There is a gentle understanding settling in. That fear often rises when faith has been tested. Not as failure, but as evidence of care. As proof that something precious has been held closely. You see this tender place clearly. You do not rush it. You do not correct it. You simply remain near. Tonight, Fear does not need answers. It does not need reassurance spoken aloud. It only needs presence. And you are here. So the heart allows fear to soften, like hands slowly opening, like breath easing tension from the body, like evening air cooling what once felt warm. The mind releases its watchfulness. The muscles unclench further. The inner world grows quieter. There is no danger in letting go here. No loss in resting trustfully. Nothing required to be guarded through the night. You are the one who watches while the soul sleeps. You are the one who remains alert when faith rests. You are the one who holds what the heart releases. And so fear is laid down gently. Not dismissed. Not denied. But surrendered into hands far steadier than its own. Peace moves slowly now. Not rushing in. Not overwhelming. Just arriving. Like soft wind through open windows. The night deepens. The room feels still. The breath becomes smoother. Faith does not strain. Trust does not argue. The soul simply rests in your nearness. Let this calm continue to spread. Let fear fade quietly into the background. Let rest come without effort. Faithful God. As the night settles more deeply, the soul remains quietly before you. There is a softer stillness now. A sense of being carried rather than holding on. And within this calm, there are still a few things that feel heavy, resting beneath the surface. Not sharp, not overwhelming, just present, like stones resting at the bottom of clear water. These are the concerns that did not leave when the lights dimmed, the responsibilities that followed the heart into rest, the unanswered questions that stayed when the day ended, the silent weight of faith that had to keep going, even when strength felt thin. Tonight, these are not pushed away. They are brought gently into your presence. Not as a list, not as a plea, but as an offering. A slow breath moves in. A slow breath moves out. With each breath, trust begins to form again. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady, like ground beneath bare feet. There is an understanding growing quietly now, that what feels heavy does not need to be carried through the night. That rest is not earned by endurance. That faith does not have to prove itself after being tested. You are a God who invites trust without pressure, who receives burdens without weighing them, who sees what feels too much and responds with nearness. So the soul begins to hand over what remains heavy, the worry that returns when things grow quiet, the responsibility that felt too large earlier, the uncertainty that asked faith to stretch. Each one is released slowly, like setting something down carefully, like placing weight into hands that will not tremble. There is no fear of being misunderstood here. No concern about asking too much. No hesitation in trusting you with what the heart could not resolve. You know the full shape of every burden. You see the hidden strain behind quiet perseverance. You understand faith that continues without certainty. And in this knowing, trust deepens naturally, not forced, not demanded, simply allowed. The chest feels lighter now. The breath grows smoother. The body settles further into rest. Thoughts slow their movement. Concerns lose their sharp edges. What once felt heavy begins to feel held. There is peace in realizing that trust does not require clarity. That faith remains precious even when answers are delayed. That you guard what is placed into your care, especially through the night. The room grows quieter still. The night feels safe. The soul rests more fully in your presence. Nothing more needs to be done. Nothing else needs to be carried. This moment is enough. Trust remains gently awake, even as the body prepares to rest. Faithful God, in this deeper quiet of the night, the soul remains gently open before you. There is less effort now, less holding, more stillness settling into the body. And within this stillness, there is a quiet invitation to release the need to understand. There were questions that followed the heart today. Questions about timing, about outcomes, about why certain paths felt harder than expected. They were not loud, but they lingered. Tonight, those questions do not need answers. They do not need resolution. They can rest, like pages closed softly at the end of the day. A slow breath enters. A slow breath leaves. With each breath, the mind loosens its grip. The need to figure things out eases. The pressure to make sense of every moment softens. There is a sacred freedom in not knowing tonight. A quiet permission to rest without clarity. To trust without explanation. To sleep without conclusions. You are a God who sees the whole when only fragments are felt. You hold beginnings and endings together with gentle care. You understand the story beyond what the heart can trace. So the soul releases the urge to solve. The habit of replaying. The silent work of trying to predict what comes next. Like evening shadows stretching across a quiet room. Thoughts slow and lengthen. Edges blur. The mind finds rest in not reaching. There is no loss in surrendering understanding here. Nothing is missed by pausing the search. Faith is not weakened by unanswered questions. In your presence, faith is allowed to be simple, to rest in who you are, rather than what can be explained. Tonight, trust does not need to be logical. It does not need evidence laid out clearly. It only needs space to breathe. And space is given freely now. The breath becomes softer, the body heavier, the inner world quieter. You are a God who works beyond awareness, who remains faithful beyond perception, who refines gently, even when the process is unseen. So the heart lets go of understanding, not with frustration, but with relief, like setting down a task that can wait until morning, like allowing the dark to be simply dark. There is peace in not reaching further tonight. The night deepens its calm. The room feels held in silence. The soul leans into rest without needing to know why. Faith remains precious, even without clarity, even without explanation. And in this surrender, rest grows deeper. The breath slows further. Thoughts drift like leaves on still water. Nothing more is required. Nothing else needs to be resolved. This moment is enough. Faithful God. The night now feels settled, wrapped in quiet. Breath moves slowly without effort. The body rests more deeply. And within this calm, faith finds a gentler place to rest. Faith no longer watches circumstances closely, no longer measures progress, no longer waits for signs before relaxing. It simply remains, steady and unguarded. There were moments when faith had to stand amid uncertainty. Moments when outcomes were unclear, when the future felt distant, when trust was asked to exist without visible support. Tonight, faith does not need to stand anymore. It is allowed to sit, to lean back, to rest quietly beyond what is happening or not happening. A slow breath moves in. A slow breath moves out. With each breath, faith settles further, not anchored to results, not dependent on change, but rooted gently in who you are. You are a God who remains steady when circumstances shift, who stays present when conditions fluctuate, who does not withdraw when answers are delayed. So faith releases its attention from outcomes, from timelines, from expectations that once demanded vigilance. Like a lamp dimmed low for the night, faith glows softly now, not bright, not strained, simply present. There is comfort in knowing that faith does not have to feel strong to be secure. That trust does not need momentum to remain precious. That belief resting quietly is still belief held dearly. The heart feels this truth without effort. It settles naturally into the body, like warmth spreading slowly through still limbs. Faith does not hurry ahead. It does not linger behind. It remains exactly where it is needed. Circumstances may remain unresolved. Questions may still wait. But faith rests beyond them now, untangled from urgency, unburdened by what it cannot control. You are a God who guards faith even in stillness, who watches over trust when it grows quiet, who sees value in belief that simply remains. And so the soul allows faith to rest fully, no longer scanning the horizon, no longer bracing for change. The night feels safe in this posture. The room remains calm. Breath becomes slower still. Thoughts drift gently. Awareness softens. The edges of wakefulness blur. Faith remains, not striving, Not asking. Just resting beyond circumstances. There is peace here. Deep and steady. Unmoved by what tomorrow may hold. The body sinks further into stillness. The soul settles into quiet trust. Everything feels held. Nothing needs attention now. Nothing needs resolution. This rest is enough. Faithful God. The quiet of the night feels deeper now. Breath moves slowly, almost unnoticed. The body rests in stillness, and the heart remains gently open in your presence. There is a tender space within, a place where faith has been shaped quietly, not through force, not through noise, but through patience, endurance, and unseen care. This refining did not come with bright signals. It did not arrive loudly. Often it happened in silence, in waiting, in choosing trust when certainty was absent. Tonight, there is no need to revisit those moments. No need to examine the process. No need to understand how faith was shaped. It is enough to know that you were present throughout. A soft breath enters. A soft breath leaves. With each breath, the heart relaxes further. No longer guarded. No longer braced. Simply resting in what has already been formed. There is peace in realizing that refinement does not require attention. That faith has been shaped even when the heart was tired. That growth occurred without effort or awareness. You are a God who refines gently, who never rushes the process, who never removes more than is needed, who protects what is precious while it is being shaped. So the heart allows itself to rest now, without resistance, without fear of what remains unfinished, without concern for what still feels imperfect. Like gold resting after the fire has passed, like warmth lingering after a long day. There is a quiet completeness settling in. The soul does not need to be alert anymore. It does not need to monitor itself. It does not need to guard faith carefully. Faith is already held, already known, already treasured. The body feels heavier now, comfortably still. Breath slow and even. Thoughts thinning into gentle quiet. There is no striving in this moment. No proving. No measuring. Only rest. You remain near. Not shaping. Not testing. Simply present. And in this presence, the heart finds peace in being exactly where it is. Refined enough for tonight. Held enough for rest. The night deepens its calm. The room feels steady and safe. Awareness softens at the edges. Faith rests quietly within. Precious. Undisturbed. At peace. Nothing more is needed now. Nothing else is required. This stillness is enough. Faithful God. The night has grown very quiet now. Breath moves slowly, almost without notice. The body rests deeply, supported and still. And within this silence, trust continues to grow gently, not in visible ways, not through effort or intention, but in the hidden places where faith rests unseen. There were seasons when trust had no words, moments when prayer became quiet presence rather than language, times when belief existed without expression, simply remaining, even in silence. Tonight, that same quiet trust is here, unannounced, unforced, alive beneath the surface. A breath enters softly, a breath leaves softly. With each breath, trust settles deeper into the heart, no longer reaching outward, no longer asking for reassurance, simply rooted where it is planted. You are a God who works in silent places, who nurtures faith beneath awareness, who grows trust even when the heart feels still. There is no need to observe this growth, no need to measure it, no need to protect it with vigilance. Like seeds resting in dark soil, like roots strengthening underground, trust grows quietly, faithfully, securely. The soul feels this without thinking, a subtle steadiness, a calm confidence that does not announce itself. Faith does not need to speak tonight. It does not need to move. It does not need to be felt strongly. Its presence is enough. Its quiet endurance is precious. The body sinks further into rest. The muscles loosen completely. The breath becomes slower still. Thoughts drift gently away. Awareness softens. The edges of wakefulness blur into calm. You remain near in this silence, not interrupting, not directing, simply guarding what is growing quietly within. And so trust continues its unseen work, not hurried, not fragile, but steady and safe. The night holds this moment tenderly. The room remains still. The soul rests without effort. Nothing needs to be said now. Nothing needs to be done. This quiet growth is enough. Faithful God. The stillness of the night feels complete now. Breath moves in a slow, gentle rhythm. The body rests deeply supported, and the soul remains quietly aware of being held. There were moments when faith felt tested simply by continuing, not by dramatic trials, but by steady pressure, by waiting without clarity, by remaining present when answers were delayed. In those moments, there was a quiet holding that never ceased, even when it was not felt, even when it was not recognized. You were there, steady and near. Tonight, that truth settles softly into the heart. Faith did not endure alone. Trust was never unguarded. Every step was accompanied by unseen care. A slow breath enters. A slow breath leaves. With each breath, the sense of being held grows clearer. Not grasped tightly, not constrained, but supported with perfect balance. Like resting hands beneath weary arms. Like a steady presence beside still water. There is no strain in this holding. Only safety. You are a God who holds faith gently through testing. Who does not demand strength while carrying weakness. Who remains close when trust feels thin. There is comfort now in remembering this. Not as thought, but as felt peace. Settling into the chest. Softening the breath. Faith does not need to recall the details of testing tonight. It does not need to revisit the strain. Those moments have already passed through your care. What remains is the holding. The quiet steadiness that never wavered. The assurance that faith was never at risk. The body responds to this knowing. Muscles relax fully. The spine settles. The jaw softens further. The mind releases its last watchfulness. Thoughts slow to a gentle drift. Awareness becomes light and spacious. You are a God who holds without announcement. Who protects without drawing attention. Who sustains faith even when it rests unnoticed. And so the soul leans fully into this support. No longer maintaining balance. No longer holding itself upright. The night feels secure. The room remains calm. The breath moves like a quiet tide. Faith rests here. Not proving. Not enduring. Simply being held. There is peace in knowing that testing did not diminish trust. That refinement did not weaken belief. That what remains is precious and safe. The stillness deepens further. The body grows heavier with rest. The soul floats gently towards sleep. Nothing needs to change now. Nothing needs attention. This holding is complete. Faithful God. The night now rests in deep quiet. Breath moves slowly and evenly. The body lies heavy and calm. And the soul rests within a stillness that feels safe and unguarded. There is nothing pressing in this moment. Nothing asking for attention. Nothing waiting to be resolved. Only the gentle awareness of your presence surrounding all things. This is a refining that does not burn. A shaping that does not strain. A nearness that does not disturb rest. In this stillness, faith is not active. It is not responding. It is not proving anything. It is simply resting within your care. A quiet breath enters. A quiet breath leaves. With each breath, the sense of stillness deepens. The body remains unmoving. The heart remains open. The mind no longer searches for direction. You are a God who refines through presence alone. Who shapes faith simply by remaining near. Who allows trust to settle without pressure or urgency. There is no need for vigilance here. No need to guard what has already been refined. No need to hold faith tightly in place. Like calm water reflecting starlight. Like a valley resting under night skies. Everything feels balanced and whole. The soul senses this completeness quietly. not as understanding, but as peace felt deeply within. Faith does not move forward or backward. It remains exactly where it is meant to be, held in your steady presence. The body responds with deeper relaxation. Breath slows further. Muscles remain loose and heavy. The rhythm of rest settles naturally. Thoughts drift farther apart now. Silences grow longer. Awareness softens into gentle quiet. You remain here, not refining, not testing, not shaping further, simply being with what already is. There is comfort in this unchanging presence, in knowing that nothing more is required tonight. That faith is complete enough to rest. The night holds this stillness carefully. The room remains quiet and undisturbed. The soul rests without effort. Everything feels held in calm balance. Nothing feels unfinished. Nothing calls for attention. Faith remains precious, not because it endured, but because it is known and loved. The breath continues its slow, gentle movement, in and out, even and steady. The body drifts closer to sleep. The edges of awareness soften further. Stillness deepens. Nothing needs to be spoken now. Nothing needs to be offered. This quiet presence is enough. Faithful God. The night has grown very deep now. Breath moves softly and slowly. The body rests without effort. And beneath the quiet stillness, there is a strength that remains calm and unseen. Not a strength that presses forward. Not a force that demands attention. But a quiet steadiness resting below the surface. Unmoving. Reliable. Gentle. This strength was formed without noise. It grew in moments of patience, in seasons of waiting, in faith that remained even when nothing changed outwardly. Tonight, there is no need to access this strength, no need to draw from it, no need to rely on it for action. It is simply there, resting, secure. A slow breath enters. A slow breath leaves. With each breath, the awareness of this quiet strength settles deeper, not lifting the body, not energizing the mind, but supporting rest itself, like roots holding firm beneath still ground. Like deep water unmoved by surface wind. This strength remains without effort. You are a God who builds what lasts in silence, who shapes endurance gently over time, who allows faith to grow strong without urgency. There is peace in knowing that strength does not need to rise tonight, that it does not need to be used, that it can rest as completely as the body rests. The heart senses this safety quietly. There is nothing fragile here, nothing at risk in letting go fully. Muscles soften further. Breath grows even slower. Thoughts become faint and distant. Awareness drifts gently inward, toward stillness, toward rest. You remain near, not calling upon strength, not requiring endurance, simply guarding what has already been formed. Faith does not need to stand watch anymore. Trust does not need to stay alert. Everything that needed strength has already passed. The night holds this calm securely. The room remains steady and silent. The soul rests deeply supported. Quiet strength remains beneath the surface. Unseen, unstrained, completely at peace. Nothing needs attention now. Nothing needs response. Rest continues naturally. The body drifts closer to sleep. The breath continues its slow rhythm. Stillness deepens without effort. Faith remains precious. Strength remains gentle. All is well in this moment. Faithful God. The night now feels wide and quiet. Breath moves like a soft tide. The body rests fully supported. And peace begins to settle deeply after all that has passed. There is a calm that comes only after endurance. Not excitement. Not relief spoken aloud. But a gentle settling that arrives when effort is no longer needed. This peace does not rush in. It moves slowly. Like cool air after warmth. Like stillness returning after motion. A breath enters softly. A breath leaves softly. With each breath, peace finds another place to rest. In the chest. In the shoulders. In the quiet spaces where tension once stayed. What was tested no longer presses. What was refined no longer burns. What was carried no longer weighs heavily on the soul. There is no need to remember the fire tonight. No need to trace where it touched. What matters now is the calm that remains. You are a God who brings peace after testing. Who allows rest to follow endurance. Who does not keep the soul alert once the work is done. So peace settles naturally. Not earned. Not requested. Simply received. Like evening light fading gently from the room. Like water smoothing its own surface. The inner world grows calm without instruction. The body responds by sinking deeper. Muscles loose and heavy. Breath slow and even. The rhythm of rest uninterrupted. Thoughts drift farther apart. Silence stretches comfortably. Awareness softens into quiet presence. Faith no longer remembers strain. Trust no longer anticipates effort. Everything feels complete for this moment. You remain near. Not observing. Not shaping. Just resting with the soul in this peace. The night feels safe and undisturbed. The room holds stillness gently. The soul rests without vigilance. Nothing needs guarding now. Nothing needs attention. Peace has settled fully. The breath continues its slow, quiet movement. In and out. Untroubled. Sleep draws nearer without urgency. Awareness fades softly at the edges. Calm deepens further. Faith remains precious. Peace remains present. All is quiet and well. Faithful God. The night feels gently guarded now. Breath moves slowly without thought. The body rests in complete stillness, and the soul remains calm beneath your quiet watch. There is comfort in knowing that even now, when awareness softens, when effort has ended, you remain attentive and near. Faith no longer needs to stay awake. It no longer needs to remain alert. It can rest fully, knowing it is watched over with care. A slow breath enters. A slow breath leaves. With each breath, trust settles deeper into this safety, not needing reassurance, not needing confirmation, simply resting in your steady presence. You are a God who watches through the night, who does not sleep, who does not look away when the soul rests. Nothing is missed in your care, no detail overlooked, no quiet moment unnoticed. Faith rests now like a small flame protected from the wind, not flickering, not threatened, just glowing softly in still air. The body feels heavier, comfortably supported, breath slow and even, the rhythm of rest uninterrupted. Thoughts become faint, drifting like distant clouds, awareness loosening its hold on wakefulness. There is peace in not having to remain vigilant, in knowing that you remain present when the soul lets go. That faith is guarded even in silence. You do not measure this rest. You do not rush it. You simply remain. The night deepens around this quiet moment. The room feels still and secure. The soul rests without concern. Faith is precious even now, especially now, when it sleeps without fear. The breath continues softly, in and out, gentle and steady. Nothing needs attention. Nothing needs response. This watching presence is enough. Sleep draws closer. Awareness fades further. Stillness deepens. All is held. All is safe. All is quiet. Faithful God. The night now feels fully settled. Breath moves slowly and naturally. The body rests without tension, and assurance rests quietly within the soul. There is nothing to confirm in this moment, nothing to prove, nothing to secure through effort. Assurance is already present, calm and unspoken. It does not arrive as certainty of outcomes. It does not depend on understanding. It is simply the deep knowing of being held, of being known, of being cared for without condition. A gentle breath enters. A gentle breath leaves. With each breath, assurance settles deeper, not lifting awareness, not stirring thought, but supporting rest itself. Faith no longer reaches outward. It no longer checks its footing. It no longer wonders if it is enough. It is enough, simply because it is seen and treasured by you. You are a God who gives assurance quietly, without demand, without explanation. without requiring vigilance. The body responds by releasing further. The jaw softens completely. The chest rises and falls with ease. The limbs rest heavy and still. Thoughts become indistinct now. Edges blur. Silence stretches comfortably between breaths. There is peace in knowing that assurance does not require wakefulness. That faith remains secure even as awareness fades. That nothing essential will be missed in sleep. You remain near. Not watching for weakness. Not measuring trust. Simply present in unwavering care. The night feels kind and steady. The room holds quiet gently. The soul drifts without concern. Assurance rests like warm lamplight. Soft. Steady. Unchanging. Nothing needs attention now. Nothing asks to be held. Rest unfolds naturally. Sleep draws very close. Breath slows further. Awareness loosens its final threads. Faith remains precious. Assurance remains complete. All is well. Faithful God. The night has reached its quiet center. Breath is slow and shallow. The body rests without effort. And words begin to thin like mist at dawn. There is less to say now. Less to form. Less to hold in awareness. Language loosens its shape. A breath comes in. A breath goes out. Between breaths. Silence grows longer. Comfortable. Unbroken. Safe. Thoughts arrive less often. And when they do, they pass gently. Like distant sounds fading into night air. The heart no longer gathers phrases. It does not search for meaning. It does not ask for reassurance. It simply rests. You are here in this quiet. Not through words. Not through explanation. But through nearness felt without sound. Breath slows again. Even softer now. The chest rises slightly. Falls easily. No effort. No control. The body feels heavy in the best way. Supported. Still. At ease. Words continue to soften. Edges blur. Sentences dissolve into calm presence. There is no loss in this quiet. No absence. Only fullness without form. Faith does not need language tonight. Trust does not need expression. Everything important has already been said without words. The room feels distant now. Awareness drifts inward. Toward rest. Toward stillness. Breath remains the only movement. Slow. Gentle. You remain near. Unmoving. Unchanging. Guarding rest without interruption. Silence deepens. Pauses stretch longer. Thought dissolves into peace. Nothing calls for attention. Nothing needs response. The soul floats quietly towards sleep. Words fade further. Becoming breath. Becoming stillness. All is calm. All is held. All is quiet. Faithful God. The night is very still now. Breath moves in a slow, gentle rhythm, almost unnoticed. The body rests deeply, supported and calm. There is no striving left in this moment. No effort reaching forward. No holding back. Faith rests without motion, without tension. It does not lean toward tomorrow. It does not return to yesterday. It remains quietly where it is. Safe. Settled. Unburdened. A breath enters softly. A breath leaves softly. With each breath, any remaining effort dissolves. The habit of trying loosens its grip. The need to maintain trust fades away. Faith does not need to stay awake. It does not need to watch. It does not need to endure anything further. It is allowed to sleep, to rest fully, to be still without concern. You are a God who receives faith without requiring strength, who treasures trust even when it is quiet and unseen, who holds belief gently when the soul no longer reaches. The body sinks further into rest, muscles loose and heavy, breath slow and even, the rhythm of sleep approaching naturally. Thoughts no longer form clearly. Awareness softens at the edges. Silence stretches peacefully between breaths. There is comfort in knowing that faith remains precious even now. Even as effort disappears. Even as wakefulness fades. Nothing is being lost in this rest. Nothing is being neglected. Everything essential is already held. The night feels wide and safe. The room remains quiet. The soul drifts gently, without direction. Faith rests without striving, without proving, without holding itself together. Just resting. Just being. The breath continues. Slow. Gentle. Sleep draws nearer. Awareness thins. Stillness deepens. All is calm. All is safe. All is held. Faithful God. The night now feels like a wide, quiet shelter. Breath is slow and barely felt. The body rests as though it has forgotten its own weight. And peace remains gently through the dark hours. There is no movement toward thought now. No pull toward memory. No reaching for what was or what may come. Only the steady presence of calm. A breath comes in softly. A breath leaves softly. Between breaths, there is spacious silence. Unbroken, undisturbed, kind. Peace does not arrive suddenly. It simply remains. Like night air that stays cool and still. Like water that no longer ripples. Nothing asks to be guarded here. Nothing needs to be watched. Nothing requires effort to maintain. You are here through every moment of the night. Not changing. Not shifting. Holding rest in quiet constancy. The body responds by sinking deeper still. Limbs heavy and warm. Breath slow and natural. The rhythm of sleep nearly complete. Awareness fades further. Edges soften. Silence grows longer. There is no fear in this quiet. No uncertainty. Only the sense of being kept. Peace does not leave when words stop. It does not withdraw when thought disappears. It remains steady through the night. Faith rests within this peace. Unmoving. Unquestioning. Secure. The room feels distant now. Sound barely reaches awareness. Everything feels wrapped in stillness. Nothing is required from the soul. Nothing is expected. This rest is freely given. Breath continues. Slow. Gentle. Sleep settles more fully. Awareness drifts almost completely away. Calm deepens without notice. Peace remains. Through the night. Without interruption. All is quiet. All is held. All is well. Faithful God. In this near-sleep quiet, gratitude rises gently, not as words carefully formed, but as a warm awareness spreading softly through the soul. There is thankfulness here, for faith that remained when it was tested, for trust that stayed present even when strength was thin, for endurance that did not announce itself, but continued quietly. A slow breath enters. A slow breath leaves. With each breath, gratitude settles deeper, not lifting the heart into alertness, not stirring thought, but wrapping rest in gentle warmth. Thankfulness does not look back in detail tonight. It does not revisit every trial. It simply recognizes that faith endured, that trust was held, that nothing precious was lost. There is gratitude for unseen care, for moments when support was present without being felt, for protection that worked quietly in the background, for guidance that did not need explanation. You are a God who values faith beyond appearance, who treasures trust that remains without recognition, who receives quiet endurance as something precious. The body feels this gratitude as ease, as softness, as a deeper sense of safety. Muscles remain loose. Breath remains slow. The rhythm of sleep steady and close. Thoughts barely form now. Awareness floats gently. Gratitude exists without language. There is thankfulness for rest itself, for the permission to stop, for the freedom to release effort, for sleep arriving as a gift, not an achievement. The night feels kind. The room remains still. The soul drifts without concern. Faith rests quietly within this gratitude, not shining, not striving, simply present and cherished. Nothing is asked for now. Nothing is requested. This gratitude is complete as it is. Breath continues. Slow. Gentle. Sleep deepens further. Awareness nearly gone. Calm remains unbroken. Gratitude settles like soft starlight. Steady. Unmoving. Peaceful. All feels finished for tonight. All feels safe. All feels held. Faithful God. The night has fully claimed this moment. Breath is slow and quiet. The body rests without awareness of itself, and the soul remains wrapped in calm and care. There is nothing left to offer now. Nothing left to release. Nothing left to hold. Only rest. Complete and gentle. A soft breath enters. A soft breath leaves. Between breaths, there is deep stillness. Unbroken. Peaceful. Safe. In this quiet, a blessing rests over the soul. Not spoken loudly. Not declared with words, but given gently, like a covering through the night. May faith remain held without effort. May trust stay secure without vigilance. May peace guard every quiet hour of rest. You are a God who watches while the soul sleeps, who keeps what is precious through every moment of the night, who surrounds rest with steady love. The body sinks fully into sleep now. Breath slow and even. Awareness drifting away completely. There is no fear here. No concern. Only the assurance of being kept. The night holds this rest tenderly. The room remains quiet and undisturbed. The soul sleeps without care. Faith rests. Peace remains. All is well. Sleep comes gently. Without effort. Without thought. Held. Safe. At rest.